Okay, now, yeah. As you all know, as you have noticed, it is very, very useful when you get feedback of what you've done after the delivery. However, what we do increase is that we have this peer feedback, which means what I'd like you first of all to jot down once this presentation is over, what is the one thing you're going to remember? Can you please all write down what is the thing that, when you go out, you really understood? What is the key point of presentation? And then when this is over, we can elaborate on this further on. Okay? So thank you very much, Marcus. And the floor is yours. Would you like me to move on the slides? Yes, okay, I will.
So, hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Marcos Teixeira, and I will present today my research that's entitled Environmental Impacts of Tourism in the Visconde de Mauá region. So, let's begin with the outline of the presentation. The outline of the presentation is composed by these topics: the Visconde de Mauá region, tourism in the Visconde de Mauá region, environmental impacts, necessary changes, nature-based tourism versus ecotourism, and conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So we can pass for the other slide, please. So beginning, the Visconde de Mauá region, it's a region rich in environmental attributes, full of rivers, forests, and beautiful landscapes, and is located on the border of the states of Rio de Janeiro and Minas Gerais. Okay, next slide. Due to your natural wealth, it's a region that approaches, invite tourists throughout the year. And the tourism is the main source of income for the local community and is responsible for the social and economic development of the region. In the two last decades, we are observing a significant increase of environmental degradation caused by the tourism activity. And this environmental degradation is characterized as loss of forest area and loss of water quality in the Preto River, as says Maia and Neves. And Preto River is the main river of the region, okay? So the question we must answer is this: has the tourist activity, as it has been practiced, been satisfactory for the region of Visconde de Mauá, for the residents, tourists, and visitors? No, I think no, because although we can observe some positive environmental impacts, a change in the way of tourism is practiced is needed. Nowadays, in the region is practiced a nature-based tourism, and this kind of practice must give way to a true ecotourism practice, committed to the principles of sustainability. Because just a point, the first kind of tourism practice, nature-based tourism, is not committed to the sustainability principles as ecological awareness, development, and mitigation of negative environmental impacts, and that happens in the ecotourism. So we can change the way the tourism is practiced in the region. So, in conclusion, we can claim that tourist activity is of great importance for the region. However, a change in the way it is practiced must be implemented under penalty of endanger the local environmental integrity and the quality of life of its inhabitants. As says Ted Perry, inspired by Chief Seattle, everything that happens to the earth, it happens to the sons and daughters of earth. Man does not weave the web of life. He is just a thread. Everything he does to the web, he makes himself. So, thank you everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Can you ask people if they would like to pose any questions?
Would you like to do any questions? Okay.
Thank you. Congratulations for your presentation. I would like to speak about the city. I was born in Resende. It's so important to speak about the Resende because Visconde de Mauá is inside the Resende. Visconde de Mauá is a region by Resende. Okay? Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Felipe. Everyone, has someone want to make a question?
I have a question.
Okay.
What changes do you propose to have to be implemented?
The change in these modalities of the change in the modality of tourism is practiced nowadays is practiced as simple nature-based tourism that's not committed to the sustainable principles, and we must change to a ecotourism that is, as I say, committed to principles sustainabilities, sustainable principles. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So the way we can change these kinds of tourism is using the environmental education. So I pretend with my research, how do I say, share the knowledge about the ecological and environmental education, and with this kind of tool, we can maybe change the modality of tourism is practiced in the region.
Okay. Thank you very much. Now,
I
are there any
have a
questions?
question.
Yes.
Is the main impact about junk, or how is the main impact of tourism?
Now, we can distinguish two impacts, environmental impacts. We have the positive ones and negative ones. So, positive impacts, we have the economic and social development of the region, that because tourism is very important to the local community. But in the other hand, the negative environmental impacts are being observed as this deforestation of Mata Atlântica, and the loss of quality of the Rio Preto River and the other rivers in the region. So these are negative impacts caused by the tourism in the region. So we have to balance this and try to maximize positive environmental impacts and mitigate the negative one. Okay?
Excuse me.
So,
I would like
okay.
to pose,
One more.
well,
once again, another etymological question about, you've cited a while ago the concept of a nature-based tourism and ecotourism.
Yeah.
As I am from geography, I know the difference between the two terms, but I suppose that not everyone there in this room know the difference between the two terms. I would like you to elaborate a little bit further in those two terms. You partially elaborate in your answer so before, but I would like to elaborate a little further. This concept apparently is based on the idea that a nature-based tourism does not have a very much commitment to the idea of preserving the environment.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes,
Would
yes.
like to add something further?
I try to speak about this in English. It's difficult. But the nature-based tourism is a kind of tourism that have the nature place as the base for the tourism practice, but the tourists are not engaged. Engaged, I don't know.
Yes?
Engaged with these sustainable principles that we can name it as, for example, mitigation of the negative environmental impacts. So they are not worried about this. They only want to walk through the nature and leave your garbage. I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah. Yeah, quit the garbage, and they are not committed with this consciousness. Okay, this is a nature-based tourism. It's different of the ecotourism because in the ecotourism, the tourist goes to the place and have attention to these questions, and he is committed with the preservation of the local, and he wants to develop the local community. So it's a different postura, like a different posture that the ecotourists have comparing to the other tourists that want only go to the nature and blah, 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 and have fun, okay?
It's a
So-
different relationship.
Yeah,
between
different relationship.
The persons that are in that environment and the environment itself.
Yeah, this way. yeah.
Thank you for your contribution.
No? Anyone more?
It was great.
So, thank you, everyone.
Can you please share with us what is one thing that you remember after this? Thank you. Okay. Can you please listen to this? Yes. So can you repeat? Because I don't know whether he has heard it. Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. So in this case, is this the main the focus of your message? Is this what you would like to communicate to people?
I think in part, yes, because yes, the Última region must be preserved, but why must be preserved?
So they miss the why thing. Is that what you mean? So this means that when you're going to redo this and to refine, you should present the arguments in such a way that we understand the whys. So this is what I'm checking now. whether what you have decided that this is important, as I told you, find the focus of your presentation. If the focus of your presentation coincides with what the audience gets, then it's a successful presentation. This was successful as well because it was very clear, straightforward, structured, even though it was not the whole of information, but it is much better than other academics in the field, where you can listen and listen and listen and understand nothing. So well done. Just check next time you do it wise. Okay? Thank you very much. So next one. Who's going to be next one? Yes, please. Is it you with the hydrogels? The hydrogels. One. Okay, let me check this. Is this one? Yes. Yes, please. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you need to have a micro.
Are you hearing me? Okay, it's better now. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Claudio. I'm an international relations student. Also, I'm DCI intern. And today I'm going to talk about possibilities of conflict in South America, which is my theme of my final paper. So, in this presentation, I am going to talk to you about three main problems: the lack of cooperation in South America, the great powers that could intervene in the continent due to the lack of cooperation and the distinction of a multipolar global order, and the least but not the last but not the least is the military institution could have more responsibilities to deal with some themes that they were not made for. So this is the title of my presentation. Let's look to the slides. And this is my hypothesis, and this is my this is my research question. Go on. So first, I would like you to know about this organization, UNASUR. For we to talk about possibilities of conflict in South America, we have to understand that there is a lack of cooperation here. Why there is a lack of cooperation? Do you know? Probably not, because this organization ended. It was created, but it ended too short. So we don't know about that. It's UNASUR. UNASUR was created in the pink tide. Do you know what is pink tide? Pink tide was a moment in South America that most part of the governments most part of the countries actually, had the head of state that belonged to left party. So if you see this image, you can see that all the countries in pink were led by left presidents. So we have Brazil with Lula and Dilma, Argentina with Cristina Kirchner, just few countries at Chile, Paraguay, and Colombia were not. So this organization was made in the pink tide, but this organization ended because the right countries that came after the pink tide said this organization was highly that had a highly level of ideology. I don't know what it means, but they said that and decided to left. And of course, the South America Defense Council ended, which was part of UNASUR. And this council was made to create a common defense policy, but now it is not here anymore. You can. So here I just put this slide for you to see the images. These are the presidents of South America during the pink tide. And in this map, we have all the countries that belonged to UNASUR. In countries in green are still in UNASUR. We say that the organization ended, but actually not ended, but it's not working anymore. So practically, it ended. And countries with light green are ex-members, okay? Just Peru is suspended, but it does not intend to come back. You can. So, problems of the absence of America Defense Council. Well, first we have lack of cooperation. We do not have a broad mechanism to make states cooperate in the name of security. For example, do you know Venezuela case? Venezuela is a country that had some fights with United States, but the countries of South America are not able to do something for Venezuela, something to relieve the situation. So what Venezuela is doing is getting closer to Russia and China in order to avoid or lift United States sanctions. But actually, it is we study international relations, we know that in a moment that you see a minor state aligning to a power, that's not good. That represents a moment of deep conflict are coming. Second thing is military hypertrophy. What is that? In South America, in the past, we have dictatorial regimes that were military regimes. And the military institutions were responsible for almost everything, but they were not made for that. They were made to defend the states against external enemies. They are not made, for example, to deal with public security, for example. But President Michel Temer put the militaries here. So when the Security Council, the Defense Council, existed, they were trying to make military institution only to deal with defending Brazil and other countries of South America to external enemies. But one thing that United States want, and they do that in their own country, is that military institution, they believe that military institutions, okay, I'm already ending, this is the last one, are made to do this. This case, we can see the drug fight, the drug war in Colombia, as the military in Colombia are responsible for that, but actually it's not. And three is the great power dispute, because South America can be the backyard for the great power dispute. We have United States, that is a superpower, but is falling, and two rising powers, Russia and China. You can go. Okay, so the conclusion is, by explaining that, I could prove you that the possibilities of conflicts in South America are higher due to the absence of the Defense Council, and countries are more likely to solve their problems by allying to other great powers and not with diplomacy. And the military institutions are getting stronger. And we know that this is not good. We know that democracy is good because one democracy does not do war with other democracies. Only authoritarian regimes do war with other democracies or authoritarian regimes. So if you want to have peace, we have to be a continent full of democracies. You can go. And yes, this is my contact. But if you want to take something of this talk, just take that our pieces on that we built centuries ago is not something that we can take for granted. It's something that is always under threat. So by explaining that, I hope you are now aware that of our situation in South America, and we always have to keep this situation, our situation, as a peace zone and not a war zone. Do you have any questions?
Excuse me, but I not understand what's the importance of that South America Council. Could you explain again, please?
Of course. The South American Council is responsible for making a common defense policy for South American countries. Okay? So the United States in OEA, Organização dos Estados Americanos, they believe that military institutions have to be responsible for a lot of things, as poverty, as drug war, and the Security Council want other state agencies to deal with these problems, not the military institutions. Okay? And by the way, the military institutions, the Security Council would serve to prevent some possible fights among the South American states. That's why the council is for.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just, are there any other questions? Can you just say it's
Pink, pink tide. Pink tide. Any more question?
Can I just make some comments?
Yes?
Okay. Now, the initial, your initial question was this. In the tokens of lack of cooperation, gestation of a multipolar global order, would the possibilities of conflicts in South America be higher? However, you ended up saying that peace is something we should value and not take for granted. Now, when you have the introduction and the conclusion, this should match. So in other words, your research question is not answered by the kind of answer you provide us in the end. So I know you told us very, very interesting things, but you had to limit down your information so that there is a focus. Okay, don't get carried away. It got much longer than it was initially planned. Possibly you have not timed it yourself. Also, very long text. 6 lines, 6 words per line. Because when I read this, I do not listen to you. And this is why we have to keep shorter text. So in this case, if I were you, how would I refine it? I would not say, I would very straightforward say about the UNASUR that it was meant to, as a way that countries can come together in order to avoid being tied to superpowers. That's the point, I think. But then it does not work. And then I would say, what are the problems that UNASUR does not work anymore, which are possibly these ones. And then the conclusion would be much shorter. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. So we go to the, I don't know if this is common to give feedback or if it's insulting for you. No, I don't mean to be rude. I'm just trying to help you narrow down your topic. Okay, thank you. So we move now to someone else. Please carry on because we haven't got much time left. So have you sent me, okay, you've got a USB.
My presentation.
I think it's,
It's okay to, I don't know what's in English, from on the side.
sorry, don't get, I think this one is, just a second. Oh, you've got, okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Walter. I study at Prof. Água, the Water Management Professional Master at UERJ. And I don't put a title, but if I will say something, I say the title is agroecology. But in the first slide, I will tell about my research. I felt it was very difficult to put in presentation in just like 3 hours that I had. So I just will say that I work. I can pass here.
Oh yes, please. Yeah.
No, sorry, you can pass. I pass one time, please. I work with. You can pass one. I work with flow forecast. I had one river basin that is Furnas River Basin, and so I predict the flowcast in Furnas hydroelectric. I calibrate the model with some precipitation stations. So when it's calibrated, I put the sun precipitation forecast to predict flow. But I will start talking, you can pass. I will start in talking about agroecology because it's my passion. I was doing some volunteers works at pandemics. I did 3 in small farms, and so I really love it. I can say that here in Brazil, they teach us in school that the Green Revolution in 1916 and 17s were necessary to feed the world, the mechanisms. And I'm going to show you quickly that it's not true. You can pass. My question is, was this really necessary to feed the world? And so 80% of the lands in agriculture lands is useful for big lands. You can pass. It's a little hard because I pass all the time and it's just little. It's about very large fields which highly depends on external inputs. You can pass. And highly vulnerable to disease. You can pass, like a locust, the gafanhotos in the beginning of the pandemics. It's an example. It happens in Argentina and southern Brazil. You can pass. And these systems are very vulnerable to climate change. Can pass. There are 4 crops that dominate landscapes, especially the transgenic ones. So the two mainly of them, you can pass, is soybean, you can pass, and corn. And of course that we produce them to eat but just very few. And we can say that a half is to feed cars, and another half is to feed cattle. Can pass. The truth, being very synthetic, the truth is this 80% of lands I told before produce only 30% of the food, using 7% of the water. So I study water management, and I know that it's the biggest use, I can say, waste of water is for agriculture, for agribusiness. And so, and it uses 80% of soil fuel. Very inefficient. We can pass. Peasants, I don't know if peasant is camponesisch. I didn't know this word. And here in Rio de Janeiro, it's very clearly that family farmers is who feed us, because this is word numbers, but in real can be more. The people of the, I don't know how to say, Petrópolis, hills cities, feed us. And comparing numbers, I don't will say the numbers, but it's much more efficient than the agribusiness to produce in middle to small lands. And I was checking time. You can pass, please. I'm going to say quickly because I think I don't have time, but one example of farms agriculture, of family agriculture or small production, and successful agroecologists from Cuba, that when the Soviet Union dissolution occurs, many of the agricultural inputs have to be drastically reduction, like over 50% of reduction of all inputs. You can pass. So for all cultures, after and before this crisis, the after is much more higher productivity, and this kind of production is for this kind of production it's necessary to improve community culture that all have to unite to produce together, and we can pass. Here, I'm talking too much quickly because I noticed that most of you put small presentations and we put a longer one. So I can here just show a little practice of agroecology, that the main point is that we cover the soil. So we get organic matter in the soil, and we improve biodiversity on the soil, and organic matter is like feed to plants. And working together in community, produce inputs, local inputs like compost, and healthy ways to prevent disease, and this kind of stuff. You can pass. Here is an example of agroflorist. That is not trees. I don't even know if bananas is considered trees, but it's just an example of diversity. You can pass. And to conclude, the reason for world hunger is that the food production and distribution system in the world is concentrated in large companies. Few people have access to land, or communities are not united in purpose of growing their own food and exporting the surplus. I saw the friend with the MST hat. I will talk about MST, but you can pass. This guy said that in development countries, it's easier to make this kind of transition because we have leadership, community leadership, and MST is an example of that. And I have to admit that I don't have too much time, and all the content of this presentation is from this talk called Agroecology, Who Will Feed Us in a Planet in Crisis with Miguel Altieri. Is that. Thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I'm not sure if it was made very clear, but I would like to make it clear now. In the example of Cuba that you've given, basically the data that you were trying to show back there, the data was that my interpretation of that is that after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and Cuba started to had a drastic reduction on the imports of things like oil and fertilizer and other kind of stuff that they use it for agriculture. They had to adapt to a lower technological standard of agriculture, and this lower technological standard of agriculture actually increased their output of food. Is that correct?
Yes, of course. But it's from small farmers. It's a reality that I said in the conclusion that the big companies lead all the market distribution of food. And so I want to show that this kind of production is more efficient, but the powerful people want to produce in large scale and domain all the cycle of production and distribution and anything and everything.
The argument that you are trying to defend that data is that despite having less resources, by organizing in a different way, they were able to produce more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Although you did not run out of time, it was within 10 minutes, you were somehow stressed, and this was evident. The more you practice, the less stressed you will be. Also, this is long text. Okay, it's 6 lines, but with 10 words per line. Try to just have it in bullet points. You don't have to say the reason for world hunger is that the food production and distribution system in the world is concentrated in large companies. You can say hunger, food production, distribution systems, large companies, and then you will say this aloud. Okay, so you just, so in this way you minimize this, which is very, we feel sort of, we have to read it. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And we will see you. But it was very good presentation.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Yes, please.
Do you measure the time?
Yes, it was less than 10 minutes.
But you measure
Yes,
exactly,
yes, exactly, yes.
What was, how much?
Oh, I don't know, but it was, when you finished, I knew that you had another minute.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you don't have to be sorry. Okay. So is this Marcelli? Okay. you sure it's going to work? Okay. Yeah, well, yes, I don't think it's going to be too much as you distance yourself. Yes, okay. You just stand there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marceli Rosa. As Claudio, I am an international relations student, and I am an internship from DCI. And today I'm going to present you about international relations. That is my course, but I'm going to show you a different point of view that Claudio showed to you today, and a different point of view that people used to think about international relations.
Is it because you sent me the link that this does not work?
Click on the image.
Okay.
Well, what people usually think about ER? Usually I heard people say that ER is all about diplomacy, or it's about travel all around the world, or it's about to avoid war. Yes, it is all of it, but it's also about people, not only about diplomacy, not only about stopping war, but it's about people related with another people all around the world. Today, I'm gonna try to give you three reasons and show you why international relation matters. The first reason is that we are not alone in the world. I mean, we are not countries floating through the international system, but we are all integrated. We are always changing informations, always related to each other. The second reason is for awareness people that they are citizens of the world. We have to know that our local actions have global impact. Our global actions, our domestic decisions have global impacts. And the third reason is to give us a broader view of the world in order to make us and compel us to seek common solutions for common problems. I'm going to give you two examples for all these things that I'm saying. The first example is the pandemic in 2019, that is until nowadays. Well, this pandemic came to show us that we are not alone in the world. All the countries all around the world have the same problem, have to take the same decisions to deal with this pandemic. So we have an international organization, a health international organization, to lead the countries to take common actions to try to contain the pandemic and try to make people die all around the world. So we all have to wear the masks, we all have to take the vaccines, we all had to stay in quarantine for a long time. And we also have global warming. I mean, our local actions have global impact. So the countries understood that they have to unite themselves to try to find common solutions to try to stop global warming. My conclusion is that international relations matter to people reach better and common solutions to common problems that affect them equally. And when I say the same problems, I'm not only talking about pandemic or global warming, but there's a lot of problems like poverty, hunger, and a lot of other stuff that we have to deal as people united. This is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any questions?
Okay. First of all, you're very fluent and very relaxed. And this is also evident in your presentation because you've got beautiful colors and beautiful design, which enables us to follow you. So remember, please, that you don't pack. I don't know if you felt the same way, because it was so relaxed. We could easily follow her. The only thing that I would have to say is that when you have, for example, 10-minute presentation, that was almost 3 to 4. So your presentation looks a little bit poorer than the other presentations. So just try to get it a little bit deeper so that it is equally substantial as the others.
Okay.
Can you get? But it was great. I loved it. Okay,
Thank you.
you very much. So next one, please. The hydrogels. Who is the person? Oh, come on. You are the first one. Okay, you're going to be second. The first one, you have sent me your presentation yesterday, or I don't know when that was. So,
Is it working?
okay. Sorry. Okay. So it does work. Oh, they haven't put it here. So, but we can. Okay.
Test. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm going to talk about a little bit more about my research theme, okay, which is hydrogels. The title is hydrogels, a promising material, but hydrogels have been researched since the 50s, so and they are used nowadays. The main point of my presentation is that hydrogels are not used enough, okay? Now, the first thing we can see here is the imperfection of the material, of the drawing. And this is intentional, okay, because of the reality of the material. Anyway, my name is Rafael. I am a master student in chemistry. Yes, I know how much people love chemistry. I am from Rio de Janeiro State University, which is this university. And don't worry, I am not going to talk about many technical terms, okay? So let's start. I'm going to start with the outline of the presentation, which is basically 4 questions and a conclusion. First question, which activity spends the most water in the world? When we think about activities that spends water, we immediately think about our actions. We think, well, maybe if I brush my teeth in 1 minute instead of 2, maybe I can help the world. Maybe if I do my laundry once instead of twice a week, maybe I can help the world. But that, and that is the point of my presentation, is not the core of the problem, okay? The second question would be, what could be the solution to this problem? That is the waste, the water consumption in the whole world, right? The third one is, what is a hydrogel? Because not everyone knows what a hydrogel is. The fourth would be, how does it work? Because the mechanism of action of the hydrogels is basically the reason why it should be used in agriculture the most. And the fifth, the conclusion, okay? Now, starting with the first question, which activity spends the most water in the world? It is not the domestic use. This would be actually the agriculture, basically irrigation, right? In this research, there is a projection of 2025 that the consumption of water in agriculture, that is irrigation, will be over 10 times more than in domestic use. And not to talk about the industry use, which is less than the domestic use. So to solve this problem, we need to attack the core of the problem, right? That is irrigation. How can we reduce the water consumption in irrigation, how to make it more efficient, okay? Now to the second question. What could be the solution to this problem? How can we make it more efficient? That is, using hydrogels in agriculture. That is, they already are used in agriculture. The thing is that they are not used enough, okay? And the conscious use of domestic water is also important. I would like to say that it is not my point that we should live here and start wasting water out of nowhere. That is not my point. The conscious use of domestic water is also important, but I repeat again, it is not the core of the problem. So basically, what is a hydrogel? What is the definition of it? If we take the word hydrogel and split it in half, we can see the hydro means water, as we all know. So hydrogel is a gel that swells, that is, increase its volume with water, basically it, okay? This is a little scheme that shows the pores in the hydrogel where the water is, right? Now, how does it work, basically speaking, right? Another way to define a hydrogel is a three-dimensional network that can absorb water, these are the water molecules, and can retain water and gradually and slowly release water. And in that way, the hydrogels help with the irrigation. Let's say, for an example, that instead of irrigate your plantation once every day, you can start irrigate it once every 3 days, let's say, for an example. In that way, you save water. You use it more efficiently, right? So in conclusion to my presentation, I would like to say that the use of hydrogels in agriculture is basically essential. That is the main point of my presentation. And irrigation water consumption around the world would decrease, basically because of how the hydrogels work, okay? Now, if anyone wants to know a bit more about hydrogels or maybe my own research, I'm open to questions, right? I want to thank you all for your attention, and I also want to thank the university for this opportunity, because not every day we can prepare a presentation in English and have this kind of experience. So I want to thank you all. Thank you. Yes.
How much is to make it in a large scale, or
How much water can you save?
no, money?
Money.
Is it possible to poor countries, for example, or it's very expensive material to use it?
It depends on, money-wise, it depends on the material. Hydrogels are not made of a particular material. They can be made of a lot of material. There are physical hydrogels, chemical hydrogels, anyway, synthetic hydrogels like the ones used on diapers. I didn't want to use certain terms, but synthetic hydrogels are basically made of polylactic acid. That is a synthetic hydrogel. But there are also natural hydrogels made of polysaccharides, like cellulose and other polysaccharides. So it depends on the material. But of course, that the use of the hydrogels would be directly related to the technological development of the country. So of course, the poor countries would have less opportunities of using hydrogels, unless some more wealthy country could donate to them. So again, talking about the international relations, we all have the same problems. So water consumption is a global problem. So we need to unite and use the technology on our favor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is this hydrogel it's used on the soil surface?
Basically, yes, it is in the soil, but it depends on the depth of the seeds, right? Where you plant, where you do your plantation. Let's say 5 centimeters. You can use the hydrogel at 5 centimeters or 10 centimeters. Basically, it works everywhere in the soil, but the surface is not good for the hydrogel because it can dry. It can get dry. The hydrogel needs to be wet with water so it could release water. So if you put it in the surface, it gets dry. Okay?
In contact with roots, you
Yes.
use it.
Yes,
Okay.
roots. That's where the plant absorbs the water. So the roots would be ideal. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for your question.
And so just one more. I can say it's about plastic.
What?
It's a polymer.
Polymer, yes.
It's like plastic. Or no?
Not exactly. Not exactly like plastic. Every plastic is a polymer, but not every polymer is a plastic.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you.
My question was the same, but he brings a thought about another question. So this hydrogel can be prejudicial to the soil in the same way?
Maybe synthetic ones. Synthetic hydrogels can be a danger to the soil and to the environment. A lot of hydrogels, when I say that they swell with water, I also mean aqueous solutions. So basically herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers, so they can release those as well. So if you, I don't know, use a synthetic polymer that is very dangerous to the environment, maybe it can contaminate the soil and the water itself. So it may not be good. That's why natural hydrogels are much more, are better for these agricultural uses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
My question is a bit similar, almost the same, but slightly different. Those hydrogels, they are biodegradable. They are solvent on the environment after some time, naturally.
Natural hydrogels are biodegradable. That is the main subject of my research, particularly. I use natural hydrogels and I test them in soils so I can see how degradable they are. How much do they last? Do they last a week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, a month? We don't know. We have to test it. And every polymer, every hydrogel has its own biodegradability, right? Because microorganisms tend to act differently on one polymer and on another. So yes, natural hydrogels are biodegradable, but they're not biodegradable in the same way, in the same time. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Not working.
Well, what I'd like to tell your attention to is that was an excellent presentation. It's not only that he's fluent in English, it's also the fact that he just managed to present a very good PowerPoint, which did not confuse us. It supported him. Very good title, not a long one. Good outline, so we could understand what's going on. And then, apart from these, very precise things. So this has, I think, it just used all the guidelines and structured this PowerPoint. So you see how this intrigues more questions after that. So in other words, if presentation skills is about showing your skills and your abilities, he has managed to persuade us that he's a very skillful person. So we would like to get him in our class, in our job, in our research. So this is what I would like to show you and actually teach you. And for those of you who have not achieved this today, believe me, you will be able to do so by practicing. The more you practice, the more focused is your presentation. Okay? So thank you very much. We'll move on to the rest because we have just till 12:30. So yes, please, who's going to be next one? Yeah? Sorry? Oh, right now. Okay, we'll start with someone else and then you'll send me yours because we have... Okay, have you got... Is it Carolina? Sorry? Oh, okay, so have I downloaded here? Okay, yeah. No, I need your, the hard disk. I need the hard, it is there, but the problem is, I need the hard disk. I know, but it is what has opened. I cannot open it. So if you want to send me your... It is. It is working, yes. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Ana Paula. I'm going to talk about cross-border e-commerce, a successful choice that I would like everybody here have a successful choice with e-commerce. As Felipe told us yesterday, I would like to do a description. Yesterday he told us how to do an audio description. So I am a woman, I could say a short woman with a white skin, brown and eyes and hair. I am dressing a yellow blouse, pants, jeans, caramel shoes, and and using accessories, earrings, and necklace, but black necklace. I consider. I said I am white, but I consider myself a black woman because my mother and my grandmother was black woman too. So now I am going to start my presentation, and I think it's low battery, no? my presentation starts with a picture. It's a picture of our university, UERJ, University of the States of Rio de Janeiro. And I took this picture on 2020, on February 2020. I was driving nearby, and I looked to UERJ and see a beautiful sky. So there is a picture of UERJ with a blue and clear sky. And I decided to put this picture here today because I'm going to tell you about my story with UERJ that is during 20 years, okay? It started so on 2000. But first of all, I would like to introduce myself, to talk a little bit about myself. I am a master's student. I study Portuguese language, and my research is on stylistic analysis. In fact, I analyze an children book named Árvore, that in English it would be The Tree. Okay, it's written by Bartolomeu Campos de Queiroz, is the author. And I am a member of research groups and extension groups and children literature. I am too editor of graduate and students magazine at UERJ named Palimpsesto, and I'm a member of the student representative, and last year I organized a student seminar, and I could collaborate with Bartolomeu Campos de Queiroz Museum with a paper written by me. So after continue, because of course the presentation is not about me, I would like to make some adjustments. First of all, I would like some classmate here, if could advise me if I am extending my time. And anybody can? Okay, thank you. And I would like to ask you, Vassilia, ti ora ine para calor?
Para calor,
Ti ora ine?
Oh, great, yes. So right now it's 11:29.
Thank you. I asked Vassilia in Greek
Greek.
because I studied Greek on 20. I don't know how to say it in English correctly. 2000, is it?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I graduated in Greek, in active Greek, that is in science Greek. And in this that time, I always practice more than Greek, a few, not and I was member of a group of Hellenic dance. So we performed. It's not a picture of my group, but we performed at that time. Okay, so if you ask me, so say to me, are you talking Greek? Is it a problem? Yes, because I forgot most of that, but okay. But I am a student at UERJ, okay, but I work at Correios. Correios, as you know, is a federal organization. It's the Brazilian Post. At Correios, I work at foreign trade consultant. So I'm not a postwoman. I don't deliver letter, but I work as foreign trade consultant for 10 years. And I work there helping people or informating people how to bring packets, goods from abroad, and how to export. And that's what I want to talk to you today, okay? How do it affect us here today? So, how cross-border e-commerce affects us? Do you know these organizations, Have anybody bought from? No, no. Who bought? You know. Okay. It's a wrong way to participate to the e-commerce cross-border. Why? There is no problem to buy. I do it sometimes, but you are spending money. Do you agree? When you buy, you are spending money. And what I want to say today is how to get money with e-commerce cross-border. So how can I make money with it? We can reverse the game exporting goods. I know most of us are students today, but tomorrow you may be an employer, who knows? Or perhaps someone yet is an employer, or have a relative or any friend who is a business person. So exports are secure to us, a financial health, because it's ensure you to long-term financial health by open new markets in another countries. So it means not sale only in Brazil, but sale for another countries. And the dollar and euro quotation in terms is good. It's a good moment. Favorece. It's good for us now. It's safe to export with Correios, the company when I work, because you have a full tracking of the parcel, insurance, and supports of on specialists that in case is me, okay? And it's an efficient solution because it was created 20 years ago, okay? More than 15,000 companies used that. Most of our clients, our customers, are companies which never exported, but once they start, they repeat it again and again, okay? So that's why I say to you that Exporta Fácil, an easy export program from Correios, is a good option. And now I invite you and your relatives and your friends to come be successful together with us. So if you don't intend to export, you can tell this news to your friends. And I can help you in this. Here is my contact. Thank you.
Now, I would like to congratulate Anna Powell for integrating some of the material that was yesterday presented about the audio description. So this is something very important, especially when you're in the audience, when you're in a conference, to try to relate things you have attended to what you're saying, because it provides greater connection and relatedness, that things are related. Also, I would like to say that you're very communicative and very pleasant. So the way you present things is very relaxed and nice and easygoing, and this is very good because you just attract people. However, your presentation was within time limits, no worries at all, it was 8 minutes. However, try not to, the very first 2 or 3 minutes are very important presentations because it's the time you've got to attract the listener's attention. So in this case, you somehow devoted this time to presenting yourself and your past. So you as if there were two presentations. So try to minimize this, and if you would like to say all these details, which are very interesting, and thank you for saying that in Greek, that was very welcoming for me, try to integrate it throughout the presentation, not the beginning, because you need to catch your reader's attention in the beginning. Okay? And one more, a minor thing, is the title, which was written with, well, in English, when you write title, you need to have capitalized the first letter, okay? That's all. So thank you very much for this. Someone else? Who is going to be next? Yeah, okay. Let me download it for you. Gabriele. Okay. Where is it? Have you attached the document? No. There's no document. No, there is no document attached. Can you send it again? Who are Carolina? Who is Carolina? Okay. So till you send, can you come, please come over and present your presentation? Okay, come on. Nuclear submarine project. Okay. Would you like me to switch the slides, or would you like? Why is this that huge? Anyway, is this? Yeah, it's okay. Okay.
My name is Carolina, and we are going to talk about nuclear submarine project in the 21st century. Well, many can ask themselves, is there a project like this in Brazil? And the answer is yes, there is. And the Brazilian Navy is really committed to it. Next. No, back. Thank you. Why to discuss this topic? I want you to know why this is important for us today. Well, the project consists in the first nuclear submarine project in the South Atlantic region. We need to know why the word nuclear submarine is related to the fuel. What is fuel? Combustível. And not to weapons. Nuclear submarine is not related to weapons in a submarine. Okay. Why is the Navy so interested in it? It's the main point I want you to know. Why is the Brazilian Navy so interested in it? Because it's related with natural resources. A term that's being used is Blue Amazon or Amazônia Azul. I don't know if you have ever heard about it, but it's a term that is being used. Blue Amazon is in reference to the Amazon rainforest. Why? Because of the richness that exists in the Amazon rainforest is comparable to the richness existing in the Blue Amazon, Amazônia Azul. So the Brazilian Navy is so interested in it because they want to protect the Brazilian maritime space. What is Brazilian maritime space? O espaço marítimo brasileiro. So they defend this project to deterrence What is deterrence? Dissuasão. Deterrence is when a person is convinced not to do something because doing this represents costs, high costs. Next, please. Thank you. So, deterrence is, in this case, to Brazil have the capability to be able to respond to the invaders. Okay, next, please. So, the argument here is totally related with natural resources, and to protect it, it's why it's important for us, because it's related to our daily lives. Why? Because it's promoted by Brazilian Navy. And doing that, Brazilian Navy can allow the other countries to engender distrust in the South Atlantic region. So it's directly related to our lives. I think it's why it's important to discuss about it. Another point is that Navy invests a lot of money in this project now, and it's our money. As I have said, it can disturb the peace in the South Atlantic region. It's my research. But I tried here to convince you why it's important for all of us to discuss and to know these terms, like Blue Amazon, like deterrence, like the project itself. Next, please. So, my conclusions, as I have said, the Brazilian attitude is perceived with suspicion by the South Atlantic region. And this is why this is so important for the Brazilian Navy. Other countries tend to think that Brazil secretly pretends to manage nuclear weapons. So, I have said to you, nuclear submarine is not related to weapons, nuclear weapons. It's not related. But the other countries don't comprehend that. They think it's a secret plan or something like that. So it can engender distrust in the region. The main theory used in this research is neoclassical realist theory. And this theory says that we live in an anarchic international system. It signifies that one country cannot trust other country because one country doesn't know what the other really wants. Okay, so I wrote the international, back please. The international system is anarchic, and the principle of self-help. What is self-help? Autoajuda. Is a guide to how states should behave because they cannot trust another country. So I would like you to know why it's important to have knowledge about Brazilian nuclear submarine project in the 21st century. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any questions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Why do we need nuclear submarine to protect Blue Amazon?
Very good question. We need nuclear submarine to protect our Brazilian maritime space because it's a way to deterrence, dissuasão. The main aim is to persuade the other countries to not invade Brazil because the costs could be high. It's a powerful kind of weapon to attack, but it's not nuclear weapon, just the fuel, okay? But its deterrence main objective is to persuade not to act. Brazil pretends that the other countries in the region and in the rest of the world don't enter Brazil, don't invade Brazilian maritime space. That's the main objective.
Thanks.
One question that I would like to ask about. You mentioned that it's a nuclear submarine has its name because it's fueled by nuclear, and assume that it's because it has a nuclear reactor on it, but well, I know the answer, but I'm going to pretend I don't know the answer. What's the advantage of having a nuclear reactor inside a submarine? Doesn't seem very logical to me for it. Why is a nuclear submarine more efficient than a regular non-nuclear submarine? What's the advantage of it?
Because it's more powerful, it's faster, and the robustness of the idea to have the first nuclear submarine in the South Atlantic region. It puts Brazil in a different place. Do you comprehend? It's all about power. All about power. Just to say to other countries, you are associated with a submarine like this.
You mean it's about showing that Brazil has the technology to develop nuclear powered weaponry, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to
handle
another question.
No, please, because we are running out of time and there are 3 more people to present.
I'm going to skip
I'm sorry to say
Sorry.
so. They won't have 10 minutes. Okay, so thank you very much. You've put a lot of effort in saying all this without any manuscript, and that was very, very evident, and we thank you for this. Also, that was a wise move to go the safe side with black and white till you feel very confident with your presentation. What I would suggest, though, is that you a little bit when you write in English, it's good to write it beforehand on any other Word document, and you check the vocabulary and the spelling, because when there is a spelling mistake, this is not, of course, it is acceptable. I mean, you are not a native speaker, you do not study English, but it strikes someone to see a mistake or an error, a vocabulary error or a dictation error. So check it on the speller first, and then copy it to the PowerPoint presentation, okay? So thank you very much for this. Thank you. So the floor is yours. Was this one? Okay.
Hello. My name is Gabriele. I am a master student in the history department, and I study political history. And the name of my research is Frida Kahlo, da pintura comunista, a imagem mercadoria, or Frida Kahlo, from the communist painter to the merchandise image. I'm sorry, I didn't make a presentation because I didn't have time. So this is the presentation that I used in the last presentation I did. So I put only image that I would transcribe, okay? Because there are only images. The two important books that I use are the diary, Frida Kahlo's diary, and a book that was made just with the most important images, the painters of Frida. My point in in my research in these presentations is to show that a new image of Frida was created by the capitalism to her image become merchandise. Well, can you pass, please? Well, the first image is her in the. It's called, if I remember, Frida Kahlo na fronteira entre o México e Estados Unidos, between United States and Mexico, because she was Mexican and had to live it in United States with her husband, Diego Rivera. And in this image, we have lots of elements of the tradition, the traditional Mexico, and the industries in United States and the modernity. So this is a critical painter of her that shows she has a problem with the capitalism. So, please, the next one. Yes. No, it's not so important. Yes, this is a paint that she has traditional clothes of Tijuana culture, and a letter that's to Trotsky. She had a case with a romantic case with Trotsky, but she was Stalinism. It's written in her diary. You can press. Yes, in this we have an image that it's called Moisés. That is. There are lots of important people to the politics in the world, including Marx in the left, and Stalin and Lenin, that are important people to that politics moment in the first half in the 20th century. Yes, this image is called. O marxismo dará saúde aos doentes. The Marxism will give health to the people with disease, because she was a disabled person, and she represents herself being saved by the Marxism. And we have Marx, and he's killing the North American. I forgot the word, sorry. Next, please. And this is a painter with Stalin. It's in the end. It's the end of her life. Yes. And why these images? These images are because to prove that Frida Kahlo was a person with she was a disabled person, not a white person that she wanted to show every time, a bisexual person, Mexican, and communist. All the time she shows that she's communist in her diary all the time, and we can see her becoming a pop person in our century, especially in the last 10, 20 years. And we see cups, paintings, pins, T-shirts with her white image, and it's very important to understand why it is done. In my research, I study ideology, how ideology can be used in merchandising. In this case, to become a merchandise, Frida had to be certain characters. So she has the politic terms of her life were completely erased. Her bisexuality was completely erased too, and her disability too. Nobody knows she had a disability. So it's very important to understand that to a person, it's happened to Che Guevara too. A little bit, not the same, but it's similar, because her image is completely represented in many places with not the political reference, and lots of people don't know he was a revolutionary, like Frida. Frida fighted for the revolution until for her whole life, and she has a special. She gave a special importance to Stalin and Lenin, because we were in her life in a very important historical moment. That was the Cold War. Before that, we had the Russian Revolution. So she was we had in factually two important groups in that moment. The Stalinists and the Trotskyists. She was a Stalinist because she followed the Soviet Party. My conclusion is that we have to look to the merchandise today and make a reflection to know why we're buying that. Everything is becoming a merchandise today, and Frida is a very important example of that, because everybody knows when Frida is in some merchandise, but it's completely different from the original Frida, the politics person, and the painter, and the communist one, and etc., etc., etc. So that's my idea here, and in my research, that's very much more bigger, obviously, is to understand how it happened. And my point here is to make you have a reflection about what you buy, and how it makes you think differently of the reality. Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Any question?
Of the political ideals, like, did you
No,
understand?
not because political ideals. In opposite, because we had, I didn't say that, but there is there started a movement in the beginning of in the 1990 of the because of the liberal feminism that was arguing to have representation, and there is something called feminism. It's a part in the industry that is just to respond of that. The feminism commodity, I remember the name. And this is a full representation, obviously. And Frida was a very important, she wasn't feminism, she was Marxism, and the Marxism and the feminism were things that weren't together in her history moment. So to her become merchandise, she had to be dispolited. Because she was Marxism and she was against all this that we are talking about. So she had to be dispolited to become a merchandise. It's the opposite.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. At least you motivated me to understand what's behind Frida Kahlo and what it means to wear things with her. Thank you very much. That was I mean, you performed pretty well considering the fact that you had not prepared a PPT, a presentation. So that was really good. It was focused, but it would be even better if you had stated your purpose from the beginning. Okay, so we are all orientated towards this. Okay, thank you so much. So please, will you present? Yes, yes, of course, yeah. Yes. And then it's your turn, okay?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Priscilla, and today I will talk about something that you may not know, okay? First of all, I'm graduated as a doctor and as a fashion designer, two different stuffs. So maybe today I will talk about something different for you too. I will explain you what a cosplay. What is a cosplay? Maybe you have already known about it or seen it in television. They are crazy people using fantasies without being carnival or Halloween or even in a fantasy party. So what are they? Well, cosplay means costume and play. You use a fantasy, a costume, an indumentary, and then you play. This can be fun, having fun, or act. So you know the word cosplay. And what is cosplayer? The cosplayer is the one that uses the cosplay and act. So cosplay and cosplayer. What is really a cosplay? It's not a fantasy that you open your wardrobe and pick a t-shirt or just ballerina clothes. No, it takes a lot of effort to do this. First, you choose a character. Can be something like, in my world, an anime or a cartoon, but can be a character from a series or a soap opera. Is not that usually, but yes, it can be a movie, a hero. So you choose what you want, okay? You choose this, and then you will find some pictures, some photos about their clothes. You find the one from the front, from the back, and then a lot of ways to have this clothes. Can be something cheaper, okay? You find on eBay, Shopee, AliExpress, and then you buy it. Can be good, can be very bad, but fun. Or you can ask somebody to do this, a cosmaker, and then it can be a lot expensive. And is this one thing that I want to tell you too? It has a way to win money with cosplay. Okay? You can make them the clothes. It's expensive, and in Brazil, it's difficult to find good cosmakers. So you don't need to be a cosplayer to win money with cosplay. That's the first thing. Or in the high level, you can make your own clothes. It can take 6 months, 7 months to do this. And you can spend more than $1,000 doing this. You have the clothes, the wigs, the accessories, a lot of stuff that needs to be perfect to do a good cosplay. So, cosplay and the clothes. But what a cosplay do? The cosplayer just walk on the streets, go to the movie theaters or in the open ceremonies? No, they can do this, yes, but you can be very famous in the internet. You can make photos and you can contract a photographer to do this. You can be invited, if you are famous, of course, to a lot of conventions, to cons outside your country, and everything will pay it by then. So you go over there, just take pictures, give some autographs, and then you travel. Yes, it's that easy. So first, pictures. Second, you just walk at the con with your clothes, and strange people just stop you and ask you to take pictures. Yes, you can have fun with that. We can have fun with strange people, sorry. So, two things. Third thing, you can go to the cons and participate in the contests, okay? You go on stage and just walk. They will judge you, judge your clothes. You need to act like the character, and then you receive a note and you can win prizes. The prizes can be money, the prizes can be even a car. So the second way to win money with a cosplay. And what is the third way? Is the hardest way. You go, you use some clothes, the clothes that you have already made, but you need to act, to make a small scene. You need to find the scene that you like, you need to, I lost the word, but you need to do this on stage. You need to make the playback to act like the character. And then you can go outside your country. But well, these are kind of easy. But you have one thing that you may not know. You have a world championship, and Brazil is 4-time winner. You go to Japan, you participate on parades, you go on television, and they see you as like an athlete. You can be very popular with this. So, I have talked about what a cosplay is. But for you, well, why just change my life? Okay, so it can change your life as you discover a new part of pop culture that you haven't known that well. Is the first thing. Today I want to break the preconcept that you have with these strange people that walks on the street. That's my second objective in this talk. And the third, explain you that takes time. It takes an effort to do a cosplay. And then people can work just as a cosplay. It can be your job. And the fourth thing that I want to tell you, you can do with your friends just for fun. Maybe to discover a new part of life, to be famous for 1 hour. Or go over there with your family, with your kids, to have a new activity with your kids. Something ludic, not the real world. You can be anybody, anything. You can be a monster, you can be an angel. You can be a kid, you can be a woman or a man. You can cross everything. So it's a new world for you to discover new ways of life. Thank you.
No. Okay, that was very interesting presentation. In fact, 5 days before coming to Brazil, I watched a documentary which was about a lady in Taiwan that she was dressed as, no, it's not this one, as Lolita. So she went to a place where they sold these dresses, and they were 5 people dressed as Lolitas, and they were taking pictures. And that was part of the documentary. So just to reinforce what you said, that you can get pictures, etc., autographs, and so on. So, but apart from that, your presentation was a very good example what you can make without a PowerPoint. So the only thing I would add that was very good, very communicative, and you had some structure, so you were not lost in details and very fluent. The only thing I would add, because it's that new, you would probably write on a piece of paper the word cosplay, so we can all check it as I did and understand what it is about, because not all people may, it's not something which is widely known. But well done.
Yes, it missed the pictures will be very easier. I was in Japan in 2019 and 20 with these combs, so it's very nice, and it will be easier to see, like the word just split, cos and play, and to see the pictures, to see the good ones.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, you're here. Yes, exactly. Please take into consideration it's 10 minutes, okay? Have you sent it? I haven't received anything. So, I made a mistake. That's LA. It's not LSN. LANCE. No. Yes. Have you sent it? It's not attached. No. Yes. Okay.
Very well. Today I'd like to repeat the presentation. Very well. Today I'd like to repeat the presentation I made on the first day, as proposed, about virtual geography. First of all, what is virtual geography? Virtual geography, in simple terms, is the study about the cyberspace, the new space the space that are comprising with the advent of the internet and other the technologies that changes the environment around us. But for now, I would like to postpone this concept and take a little sip in a famous quote and also the title of a book from Is the Cosplay. And now you would excuse me. What? No. Still there. La géographie, ça sert d'abord à faire la guerre. I believe I mispronounced a lot of things, but to sum it up, geography is used first and foremost for war. The idea that this titles endorses, and subsequently the book, is that geography, with all of its body of knowledge, despite all of the good intentions, will always have a lot of potential to be used for warfare, for the purpose of conflict. And virtual geography thus also has that potential for warfare. Yeah. Thus, I would like to enter in the subject of cyberwarfare. Cyberwarfare is, in a nutshell, the warfare that is done through virtual means. You could say that it's a new kind of covert action, new kind of espionage, sabotage, and agitation techniques, things like that. But unlike the regular espionage movies that you've seen in the past, the cyber warfare has a new relationships with the space that is not bound by frontiers. You do not need to send an agent to another country to do the sabotaging, to do the espionage stuff. You can do it back from home or even from a third-party country. This changes a lot on the relationship between countries, because now you cannot defend yourself from cyber warfare with just national laws, national security laws. Suddenly, it's a whole new set of rules, a whole new relationships with the space, because now now we live in a globalized world where everything is connected. Now for the next slide. But even though there is a huge potential for war, virtual geography is not everything about war. Just as stated in a few presentations prior, there is a there's a huge potential in that is being used for a long time ago in from the advent of the internet for the e-commerce, the use of the internet to transport goods and services that are being globalized. You now not only can buy stuff from the internet from stores close to you, but you can buy stuff from other countries, sometimes even all around the world. That's something really fascinating. However, and that's something that we have to notice, is that not everything is limitless. There is an aspect of reach to every kind of product. There is an appeal aspect, just as stated prior on a few slides prior. While the e-commerce has the potential to put any product on sale, not every product is yet on sale. There are products that have not been put on sale yet, and even though products that are already on sale on foreign soil, they might not have the same appeal on other countries that they have on their localized places. Or they may have more appeal outside than they have inside. That's something very confusing sometimes. It's a curious geographical factor, but that's only to highlight this dichotomy between the globalized spaces. That we have to understand that we live in a globalized world where everything is connected, everything has the potential to be everywhere, in a way. However, not everything is everywhere at the same time, because not everything can be everywhere at the same time. The stuff are manifest in places in different ways through the internet, thanks to this power that the localization that the local still holds over how the globalized information is going to be absorbed through these places. The local still dictates the reach, both through logistical limitations, how much certain products, goods, and services can reach that given place, but also how that appeal, how the information about those goods and services will reach that place. That's one of the applications of the studies of virtual geography, besides war, of course. In conclusion, all these new relationships between different spaces from the internet, this new relationship between different points on the internet, where just as stated before, the distances between points of the space, there is the potential for instant communication between long distances. New spaces are being constituted. New relationships with the space is being formed. And how these relationships is being built is the object of study of the virtual geography. Well, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
I would. Yeah? Okay, great. Now, thank you very much. You seem to be passionate about what you're studying, and thank you for keeping the rules of the PowerPoint and keeping it simple. What I would suggest is that you try and rehearse a little bit more at home so that you feel more, your voice is more, it has more rhythm and is a little bit more relaxed. No, it's okay. It's just remember that practice makes you perfect. The more you rehearse, the better you become. Okay. So at this point, I think it's the end of this very, very interesting 3-day teaching for me. I don't know if, I don't think I've told you that I've taught this seminar to Beijing University, La Trobe University in Australia, St. Petersburg University, and the Technological University in Indonesia. But you have been the best audience I have ever had. And I really wish to thank you for this, because you were really motivated, really into that, committed. You wanted to apply what you've been taught. And for a teacher, this is the best reward. I also would like to thank Professor Cristina Russi for accepting my application to come and visit your university. And I wish you all the very best for your future studies and careers. So it is likely, it is possible that you will be someone very famous in the years to come, since to be so inspired by what you're studying, but what you're doing, and you seem to put a lot of effort in this. So there is no way but to succeed. So keep walking in your path. Thank you very much.
So we want to thank you, Professor Vassilia. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And we hope it's the start of a strong collaboration.
Yes.
And if you have the opportunity to come back, it will be a pleasure
Yes.
to receive you, okay?
Thank you very much.
So thank you.
Thank you.
And I will ask everybody to take a picture with Professor Vassilia, please.
Yes.